I've had Patrick Henningsen, who is a longtime reporter and documentary filmmaker. In fact, he's reported for us from Copenhagen, Denmark, Climate Summit. He was there barricaded in the local pub and watched white people being drug out of cars, being beaten up. It's admitted that many of the riots were racial. There's also gangs of white kids with black kids running around in other smaller cities who are just looting, using it as an excuse for criminal action. You know, I've gotten some emails, I've seen some comments saying, Alex, this is political. Well, if this is political, this is not part of the political group I'm with. I'm sorry, burning down family homes. In fact, we were just showing a photo of that earlier, and images of women jumping out of their burning homes. Really, the rioters aren't going down to Parliament. They're not going over to BBC. They're not going over to Sky Television. They're not going to MI6 because the police would just shoot you there. No, they're burning down neighborhoods and little shops. And I guess that's political to some of you. And you know what? I guess at the end of the day, that is what we're going to see in this country. As the welfare checks don't buy the goods anymore. You're still going to get your welfare check. You're still going to get your food stamp card. It's just that the allotment isn't going to go up. The COLA isn't going to go up. And I'm not saying your Social Security's welfare, folks. The point is it's an entitlement. It's something the government controls. And they're devaluing the dollar. As J.P. Morgan announced, gold's going to go to $2,500 by the end of the year or higher. That's MSNBC, CBC, because the dollar has been devalued. And other currencies are being devalued by the banking cartel. And so was Reginald Denny having, you know, his face clubbed in with a brick because he was white? Was that political? Should I have, like, said, kill him? It's political. Mindlessly running around and burning things will empower the establishment to crack down and take everyone's rights. The British Ministry of Defense in 2007 said austerity, because of the banking crisis, this is before it happened, would cause unrest and that they would set up a police state in response. The Rand Corporation says it. And you've got so many uninformed mental midgets out there who are smart enough to know the government's lying to them, but not sophisticated enough to know that we're restorationist. We want to restore law and order, a rule of law, a constitution, private property, sovereignty, and a compact of men and women together to defend individual rights. Not the red terror model that is normally comes right after a bunch of poor people running around burning things. Okay? This is what allows the system to collapse things. Stewart, you're a historian. You are a, top of your class lawyer, Yale. Worked for Ron Paul, Army paratrooper. You've won awards for your papers on history. I mean, I'm not a rocket science, but, isn't what I'm saying here just common sense history?
Absolutely. It's the standard pattern. It's cause chaos and then capitalize on it. And this is what's been going on now in this country for decades.
Well, you're not a good revolutionary patriot. You don't like burning down family dwellings.
What's the problem with, like you said, you wind up with the French Revolution rather than the American Revolution. You wind up with the guillotine and destruction of everyone's rights and then rule by bosses. And you wind up with animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. So you're not restoring the republic. You're tearing it down in a different way.
And notice, we're being singled out by the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, White House. I'm on the White House enemies list. Total MSNBC, CNN, Nightline demonization 24/7 because we're the real Americans. We want real rule of law. We want the American system. We want due process. And we've got the control left saying we're bad because we don't want an American Arab Spring that Al Gore called for by the environmentalists burning things. Said that last week. He's calling for that here with his people because we're going to resist that. We're going to resist government tyranny, military tyranny, police tyranny, because we're for truth and justice, because we are with the Founding Fathers and follow their genius, their idea. We're the enemy because we are the hope. You, the listeners of this show, we've got history. We're informed. We called this coming decades before. and they know we've got the light of liberty in the gathering darkness, and they want to snuff that liberty, and it's up to you, the listeners, to spread this radio show and the videos and the information, Infowars.com, to the four winds, because we've got to stand up now at this critical juncture. Stewart, explain the historical juncture we're at and the difference between a gelded, disarmed public and an independent, strong, yeoman population.
Well, just that we're supposed to be sovereign citizens in sovereign states who take personal responsibility for our safety as the militia, as the posse, as our own volunteer fire department, not turning it over to experts and not gelding ourselves. And the government is always offering you the free lunch. Just let us professionals handle it. You just go vote, but don't have a gun. Don't organize for your own defense. Don't take personal responsibility for security of your neighborhood and your community. Leave it to NORTHCOM. Leave it to FEMA. We'll take care of you. That's what they want. They want us to become just like all the other countries throughout history that have gone down the road of tyranny. And the way to counteract that is to do what they don't want. Form into posses. Start a militia in your county. Take personal responsibility for your safety. Learn how to shoot. Go to an Appleseed program rifle class, which is free, or $75 for the whole weekend, and learn how to shoot and take personal responsibility and take it back from the ground up. That's the solution.
And I want to warn folks about militias. And I want you to continue. Real militias are great. They're constitutional. But if guys come to you and say, be part of something secret, let's go surveil the police department, that group's being led by a Fed trying to set you up to create the illusion of dangerous secret groups. Real militias go to the city council and speak out. Real militias go help run soup kitchens. Real militias go and educate their police and invite them to be part of it, or go to the sheriff and offer to assist, or run for sheriff. Real militias are out in the open, or you can, with your cousin, your brother, and one neighbor, have a military history club that is completely secret. Either go completely secret, still be totally lawful, or be completely public. Now, I know you've studied special forces operations, behind enemy lines and communist situations, but isn't that the way to go, Stewart? Don't go either way. Totally dark, totally secret, or totally political and public, Stewart.
That's what the founders did. They had the Sons of Liberty, which were the secret organization, and they had their very public militias, because that's the way you get everybody in the community to get trained and united and taking responsibility for themselves. That's what the founders intended. They did not want us to be gray men and hide. But so, yeah, do one or the other, but don't do the thing in the middle like you said. It's very, very wise.
Well, the minute somebody comes to you and says, let's practice making pipe bombs, that is a Fed trying to get you to be involved in criminal activity so other people get scared and don't join real militias. All it is a civil defense local posse for the imploding society, and people are ready for this. They're ready. They're ready. We've got to organize now with our neighbors, so if there's a total collapse and a marauding crew of scum comes down the road, we're ready. When you're out of town working, your neighbor's watching your wife. When he's out of town, you're watching them. We've got to get back to being real people. This is what all our ancestors did in every culture. You either do this or you're overrun slaves.
That's correct. You need community, and I think the first thing you should do is a neighborhood watch. That will take care of a lot of things all at one time.
And that means a local neighborhood watch, not one run by the feds, where you're watching for people with Ron Paul stickers.
That's right. It means, like you just said a minute ago, neighbors looking out for each other, and that can turn into an ad hoc militia when necessary. And then while you're doing that, you also work to establish a formal, official county militia or town militia. You do both. But you got to get going. That's why I encourage folks to go to OperationSleepingGiant.com, our new initiative to wake up veterans and focus on preparedness.
All right, in closing, as I'm ranting here, these are incredible times. Everything that's happening, Stewart, is proving that your analysis, mine, Ron Paul's, is 100% dead on, because we're following history. We know the globalist roadmap. We know what's coming next. Are you, because 5 years ago I never got chills, are you... When I say chills, I mean hair on the back of my neck. My spidey sense has been off the chart the last 6 months, and it's getting more and more intense. Can you feel what's coming?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm reading the book When Money Dies right now about the Weimar hyperinflation, and it's eerie and chilling to see the parallels. We're doing precisely the same thing that they did, and look where they wound up. They wound up with a hyper dictatorship. And so if we're going to avoid that, we need to step off the treadmill of the matrix and get back to being what the founders intended, which is sovereign people in sovereign communities. We have to.
Well, that's it, Stewart. The system consciously, decades ago, but the real markers 12 years ago, made the decision to hyperinflate, destroy us, and set up the police state as the answer. They've already got it. Threat fusion centers, clergy response teams, Emergency Centers Act, all lined up. They are intending to go forward with this. That's what's so incredible about the magnitude of what we face. But the good news is centralized systems don't work very well. And we, the Patriots, had decades-long jump on them because we saw what they were doing. We got laughed at a long time ago, Stewart, but not now.
Well, we're still weak, though. The problem is a centralized system can kill a lot of people before it finally collapses, and that's the danger. So what we have to do is make sure that we're as strong as possible in our local communities so that we are not desperate and hungry and starving, and they have less of a justification. Then you get more of the military and police who will say no and side with us. That's the goal.
Well, you know we're being listened to at military bases all over the world right now. So the military is starting to wake up.
Oh, absolutely. I get messages all the time from active duty soldiers letting us know that, hey, they're not going to join our organization because they don't want to be purged out of their unit, but they want to let us know that they and at least half the guys in the unit agree completely. And so they are waking up. But they're still susceptible to human nature. Like in Katrina, if they believe it's a real emergency, they're more likely to go along with unconstitutional behavior, unconstitutional orders. And so that's what we have.
Absolutely. Stewart, great job. Great job. We'll be right back.